How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Kuf Yud Tes, Daf 119 of Masechta BavaKama. Friends. Friends. Oh yeah, friends. Okay. Okay. Today's gonna have to be another chilled out day. The thing is, I'm wearing my noise cancelling headphones now. I wasn't wearing it for the second segment of yesterday. So maybe because I'm wearing the noise cancelling headphones, I won't realize that I'm actually being louder than I think I am, which maybe means that I might be a little bit more dynamic, which could work in your favor. But I don't know. Alright, Chaver, here's the deal. Ooh, that's a bird. That's a nice bird. I don't really see those kinds of birds. Very nice. Okay. Anyways, oh yeah, today's the last stop. Oh my god, Chaver, because I have to try to keep it down, I can't be as excited as I might want to be, but Chaver, this is Daf Kuf Yud Tes, the final Daf of Masechta BavaKama. That's a humongous deal. Chaver, give yourself a pat on the back. That's a big deal. BavaKama this is not children's play. It's not child's play. BavaKama is hard stuff, especially the last few weeks. We've been clocking some of the longest dafs we've ever had at Babylon Talmud. My gosh. Let me tell you, Bava Metzia. That's not a walk in the park either. I think it might make BavaKama look like a walk in the park. Alright. But I'll go upon him. I don't want to scare you. I don't want to... Ooh, there's people. People are awake. Uh-oh. The people are awake. They're going outside. They're going to look at me. Uh-oh. You think they're going to succeed? They're trying to get outside. Is the alarm going to go off? I guess we'll find out. Let's see. Will she figure out how to open the door? So far not. She's turning the knob. That's a good place to start. Knob is turned. Body force is being pushed. Okay, now comes the confusion. Why is this not working? Does she realize that I'm staring at her? Not yet. Does she hear me analyzing the situation? It doesn't seem like it. Okay, what is going through her mind? The knob is being turned. Body pressure is being applied to the door. Okay, looking down at the bottom to try to see if maybe there's some kind of additional unseen lock. Okay, knob is being turned once again. Okay, will she just give up? I feel like probably about 5 seconds. Oh, is she about to give up? Alright, let's go weiter. Oh, yep, she gave up. So I hope that my analysis of somebody trying to open the door was acceptable. Maybe that would be in lieu of a complaint. I didn't complain this morning, so I had to replace it with the... Alright, anyways. Alright, so we're talking about BavaKama now. We're at the end. And Chaver, let me tell you something. The end of BavaKama is so boring. It's so boring. So the first Amud, today's first Amud, is not boring. Is not boring. But then we get to a Mishnah at the bottom of Kuf Yud Tes Amud Aleph. Chaver, it's so boring. I didn't even learn it. I don't even have an art scroll over here. Because I only took hand luggage, so I didn't have enough room/weight for BavaKama and Bava Metzia art scrolls. So I only brought the Bava Metzia one because I'm going to need that more. So I'm just going to read it out of Sefaria. It's going to be so boring. Okay, let's go weiter. Okay, so we're going to start on Daf Kuf Yud Tes Amud Aleph, second line of the Amud. But it's exciting though because we're about to finish BavaKama, so that's a big deal. Big leagues. We said that you can't purchase like fruits and wood from a fruit watchman because they might not belong to him. Rab Zovin Shabishto me Arisa. Rab purchased what Shabishta? Chavile Izmorus, I don't know, bundles of branches from a sharecropper. Omer Leah. Wait, no, this isn't Rab. Let's make it Rabba. So Amalei Abaye, so Abaye says to Rabba, V'ho Tanan, V'lo Mishomri Peris, Eitzim Uferis. But we learned in a Mishnah that you cannot purchase from a fruit guardsman wood or fruits. So Rabba says, yeah, but that's talking about a shomer, a custodian, that he doesn't own any portion of the property, and therefore we have to be concerned that it may not be his to sell. But a sharecropper, that a sharecropper, he does have rights to whatever percentage he's entitled to. I'll say that he is selling his own share. Tana Rabbanan, the rabbis taught, Shomri Peris Lochin Mein Kishen Yoshvin Umochrin Vasalim Lifneim V'Tutani Lifneim. So if you have a fruit custodian, you can purchase from him if he's sitting out in the open and he's selling with baskets full of fruits and there are scales. He's like doing like a proper enterprise. So if that's the case, then we can assume that it's legit, because he wouldn't set up shop over there if he's stealing from his owner, because he'll get busted. So if he's kind of doing it legit, so you can assume that you can buy from him. But as we said in the Bryce, I believe yesterday, that in the Mishnah, that if in any of these scenarios he says, yo, keep it on the DL, I don't want people to know about it, just, be between me and you, so then you can't buy it from him. You could purchase from him from the entry to the garden, but not from the back entry. From the front entry, but not from the back entry. Again, the less shady, the better. Itmar was stated, Gazlan me'emos mutter liknos imenu. A thief, at what point can you purchase from him? And if you have a guy who's a thief, so does that mean you can, is he blacklisted forever? Or at a certain point, can you assume that, you're not purchasing stolen contraband? So Rav Omer, Achete Rov Mishelo. Rav says you can only purchase from this guy once the majority of his stuff is rightfully his. Ushmuel Omer afilu miut shelo. Shmuel says even if only some of his stuff belongs to him, you can assume that what he's selling you is his. Ori le Rav Yehuda la'ad dayola kedivrei ha'omer afilu miut shelo, and Rav Yehuda ruled for Ada Dayola, Ada the attendant. It's interesting. I was reviewing this on an airplane, and on an airplane, a stewardess, an attendant, is called, I believe, a dayal or a dayelet. Kedivre Omer afilu miut shelo, even if the minority of stuff belongs to him, you could buy from him. Momin Moser, the money of somebody who like we were talking about the other day, who shows the shmendriks where the property of the Yidden are, and then they take him away. So that guy's called a Moser. So Rav Huna of Rav Yehuda Chad Omer mutter la'abdo biyad, you can ruin his property. V'chad Omer also la'abdo biyad, you can't actively ruin his stuff. Mand Omer mutter la'abdo biyad, according to the opinion who says you're allowed to actively ruin his stuff. Lo yeh mamono chomer migufo, well, because his property shouldn't be any more stringent than himself, and we can cause bodily harm to him, so certainly then to his property. Manda Omer also la'abdo, and according to the opinion who says it's forbidden, dil mahavale zari ma'alya, well, maybe his offspring is going to be good people. That a shmendrik prepares, but who gets the benefit? The tzaddikim, the righteous. And therefore, so maybe to him we could do whatever we want, but to his property, which will be inherited by his offspring, leave that, because maybe they will inherit it and they're good people. Rav Chizda havale ariso dahaba tokil v'yoiv tokil v'shokil. there was Rav Chizda had a sharecropper who would nickel and dime him. Salke, so Rav Chizda got rid of the sharecropper, and then Rav Chizda read the following verse about himself. Vitzofun the tzaddik chel chote, that preserved for the righteous is the loot of the sinner. So that guy was nickel and diming me, and I got rid of him. Ki matikvas chonef ki yivtza ki yishalelo nafshoy, that what is the hope of a shmendrik, that he steals because, I don't know, God will take his soul or something. So it's machlekes Rav Huna and Rav Chizda about, are we talking about God will take the soul of the shmendrik or of the shmendrikt, the victim? So Manda Omer Nafsho Shel Nigzel, the one who says it's the soul of the victim, that this is the way of the shmendrik, this is the way of the thief, that he takes the soul of the victim. Manda Omer Nafsho Shel Gazlan, the one who says the soul of the shmendrik, of the thief, Al Tigzol Dal Ki Dalhu, don't steal from a lowly person, from a impoverished person, because he is impoverished. And do not forlorn. Is that even a verb? A poor fellow in the gate. Because God will fight their fight. Vikava eskoveim nofesh, and will be'etzim kill the perpetrator, the thief. B'yidoch nam yoksiv nefesh bailov yikach. But what about the first pasuk that says nefesh bailov yikach, which is the victim? My bailov the hashta. No, when it says the owner, it doesn't mean the previous owner, it means the current owner, the thief. The idoch nami, and according to one who says that it is the victim, oksiv v'kaves koveim nofesh, that it says, but the thief is going to get in big trouble, is going to be killed. Matam kamer. No, it's saying for what reason? Matam v'kaves koveim mishum dekaboy nefesh. Why is the what's the problem? The problem is that they ruined the victim. All right. Someone who steals from his fellow the equivalent of a prute. It's as if he's taking his soul away from him. Shneimar, as the pasuk says, so this is the way of the people who steal. Es nefesh ba'alav yikach, that they take the soul of the victim. V'omer, it says, v'achal k'tzircha v'lachmecha, you will consume your harvest and your bread. V'yochlu banecha uvnosecha, and consume your sons and your daughters. V'omer, and it says, mechomos b'nei Yehuda, asher shofchu dam noki ba'artzum, from the Hamas. Hamas is, right, of course, when you steal something and then forcibly pay them for it. That they have spilled the innocent blood in their land. And it says, El Shaul ve'el beis Adomim, to Saul and the house of blood, asher hemis es hagivonim, that he killed the Givonim. My V'omer, what are all these? How come we're giving 4 psukim? Well, v'chitema nefesh didei. Well, if you say that when you steal from a fellow, you are only stealing his soul, but not the soul of his children, Tashma b'sar bonav uvnosav. Well, that's why we have the next pasuk which talks about his children. Well, that's maybe only because he's not paying him for it. But maybe if he paid him for it, that would be a different story. Tashma mechomos b'nei Yehuda asher shafchu dam noki ba'artzim. Well, that's why we have the next pasuk which mentions Hamas, which is even when you pay for it. And if you say, and if you say, okay, but that's only when he does it directly, but not if it's a causality. Tashma el Shaul v'beis Adomim al asher hemes es hagivonim, that it says that Shaul killed the Givonim. So where did we ever find that Saul killed the Givonim? Ela mitoch sheharag nov irakiyanim she'oyu maspik loim Mainu Muslim. Well, Saul didn't kill the Givonim directly, but he destroyed Nov, Ir HaKohanim, who would supply water and food for the Givonim. So he caused the Givonim to be killed. So we treat it as though he killed them. So we see that even a causality would be a problem. Avalokhin min hanoshin. So he said, but we can purchase from the women wool in Judah and what was it, shearings and flax in the Galilee, I think we said. The rabbis taught Lokhin min hanoshin klei tzemer b'Yehuda v'klei pishtim b'Galu. So we say that you can purchase from the women wool in Judah and flax in the Galilee. Aval lo yenis u'shmonu muslosis, but not wine and oils and fine flowers. V'lo min ha'avodim, and not from the avodim. V'lo min ha'tinokes, and not from the children. Abashol, Omer says Abashol, mocheres isha ba'arba v'achmisha dinar kedei lasos kipa l'rosha. A woman can sell 4 or 5 dinars worth in order to make some kind of head covering for herself, because the assumption is that her husband will be cool with that. And as we've said in the past, that in all of these scenarios, if there is a request, if the buyer requests from the purchaser, like, hey, can you keep it on the DL? So then we walk away, because that's shady. It's suspicious. A gabait tzedakah would be allowed to accept from these women a small donation, but not a large one. Avalo davar muba, but not a large donation. Babadodin lokhin mein zeisim b'mida v'shemen b'mida. A person who works at a olive press, you can purchase from him lots of olives and lots of oil. Avalo zeisim b'muat v'shemen b'muat, but not little bits of olive or little bits of oil, because again, we have to be concerned that maybe he's trying to be sneaky. Reb Shimon ben Gamliel says, Reb Shimon ben Gamliel, Lokhin minoshin zeisim b'muat, you can purchase little amounts of oil, of olives from the women, Begalil ha'elyon, in the upper Galilee. Shepaimim odom bosh limkor al pesach peso, because sometimes a person is embarrassed, a fellow is too embarrassed to sell at the entrance to his home. Venosin the ishto umocheres. So instead, he gives it to his, somebody else is trying to open the door. Let's see. Will he succeed? Ooh, I see some movement. Okay. He went straight for the top. See, he looks like I have confidence that this is going to work. Okay, let's see, he's turning the knob. And boom, it's open. I could just tell that he had approached that door with determination. I knew he was going to succeed. He succeeded in about 5 seconds. And now, my friend has gone outside and she seems very happy. And I think she's trying to figure out, how did you open the door so quickly? Wow, okay, she's outside. She still seems in a state of shock. She's moving around. She's looking around. Okay, well, everybody's outside now. Very nice. Congratulations, everybody. Where were we again? Al Pesach Beso V'nosin the Ishto Umucheres. So yeah, he might be embarrassed to be selling by his house. So he says, hey, wifey, can you sell? I'm too embarrassed. Although he might be too embarrassed to say he's embarrassed. So he's like, I'm busy. I gotta watch TV, go sell stuff. Ravina, make yourself useful. Ravina ikla levei machoza. Ravina, okay, now they're back inside. Hope it was worth it. Ravina ikla levei machoza. Asu noshe devei machoza. And the women of Machoza came. Ramu kame kavle v'shire. And they put before him, I don't know, different kinds of jewelry, I think. Kovlu minayu. And he accepted from them. I guess he probably purchased it from them, accepted it from them. Homily Rabba Tosfa, the Ravinus Rabba Tosfa says to Ravina Velatanya, we learned about the Gaboy Tzedakah Mekabel Meyan Dover Muat, Avalo Dover Muba, that the Gaboy Tzedakah can only receive small things from him. Maybe they were collecting money or something? I don't know. So he can only accept the small things, not the big things. Yeah, but come on, we're in the fancy city of Machoza, right? Machoza was the city of Rava. I think Machoza generally has the reputation of being a wealthy city. So we're in the wealthy, fancy city of Machoza. yeah, these jewelry things would be within the range of things that would be acceptable to, that their husbands would be cool with that. Alright, Chavre, now we're mamish in like literally the final stretch of BavaKama, the final segment of this illustrious Masechta. Chavre, this is going to be so boring. I mean, not only is this so boring, I was going to read this from the art scroll, which I think would have been acceptable, but I don't even have an art scroll. I'm literally going to read the Sefaria. I wouldn't be surprised if by tomorrow I have nobody listening to Babylon Talmud anymore. Everyone gave in all their swag, gave in everything, like, alright, we're done with Babylon Talmud. This guy's so boring. But alright, now that I got you all excited, I feel like I've made it seem like it's going to be so boring that maybe you're at least like interested to see like what does something that's so boring mean. So maybe by saying it's so boring, I interested you somehow. But alright, well, see for yourself. I'm literally reading from my phone. Honestly, you can do the same thing that I'm doing if you just take out Sefaria right now and just go to the mission at the bottom of 119a of BavaKama with the English translation. I think I'm literally just going to read it from my phone. This is ridiculous. It's just so boring. Okay. Mochin Shakot. The thing is, the art scroll, they break it up into into these little phrases. Sefaria just gives you like a chunk. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I don't know. Let's see. I warned you. Mochin Shakot. Yeah, maybe I should probably read it in like small chunks because too much is too much. I don't even know. We'll figure it out. Mochin Shakovis Motzi Hari Elu Shelo Vasorik Motzi Hari Elu Shel Baal Habayis. Now let's just divide it up how they divide it up. It'll probably go faster. We probably just want it to go as fast as possible. Be bored for the least amount of time. Koves notel shlosha chutin behin shelo yosu mikein Hari Elu Shel Baal Habayis. Ima yashachar al gavi alav notel es hakol behin shelo. Okay, strands of wool that the launderer removes from the garment belong to him. Okay, as it can be assumed that the customer is uninterested in them, but strands that the carder, the heck is a carder? I.e., one who prepares wool for use as textile. That's called a carder? Okay, removes, belong to the customer as it is assumed that the customer would want them, since the carder often removes a significant number of strands. Very interesting. A launderer takes 3 threads that were inserted at the edge of the garment. This is actually a very good translation, and they are his. But with regard to more threads than this is a very good translation. These additional threads belong to the customer. If these were black threads on a white garment, he takes all of them and they are his. As the removal of the threads improves, you see, I'm like falling asleep already. This is so boring. As the removal of the threads improves the appearance of the garment, the customer does not want them. Achayit shashir es achut kidei lisporbo. Matlis shehi shalosh al shalosh, hare elu shel Baal Habayis, ma she'acharish motzi b'maitzed, hare elu shel lo, u'v'chashil shel Baal Habayis, v'moya ose etzel Baal Habayis afan esorim shel Baal. Should it say, is there a typo here? Should it be shel Baal Habayis? Probably, right? Yeah, shel Baal Habayis. There's a typo here. Come on. Alright. In the case of a tailor who left enough thread attached to the cloth that it could be used in order to sew with it, or if there was a patch of cloth that is 3 finger breadths by 3 finger breadths left from the cloth given to the tailor by the customer, these items belong to the customer. This is so boring. That which a carpenter removes with an adze. What the heck is an adze? I should probably look up what an adze is one of these days, because I feel like every time I see ads, I'm like, what the heck is that? Belong to him. Because an adze removes only small shavings of wood, which the customer is uninterested in. But what he removes with an axe, vakashil, belongs to the customer. And if he was doing his work in the domain of the customer, then even the sawdust belongs to the customer. Okay. Gemara. Tanarabanan lochin mochin min hakoves mipnei shein shelo. Hakoves notel shnei chutin elyon vehin shelo. Okay. The Gemara says that sages taught in a brisa, one may purchase strands of wool from a launderer because they are assumed to be his. A launderer may take the 2 upper threads of a garment and they are his. Okay. Okay, we're up to the final Amud of Masechta BavaKama. V'lo bo yoser mishlosha chubin v'lo yisok habeged l'shisyo el le'ervo u'mashveu le'orko avalo le'rochbo v'mbala ashvoso ad tefach. And a carter, that we said was like the wool guy or something, should not place in a piece of cloth more than 3 stitches for each loop that he attaches to the cloth in order to stretch it out, as this causes the cloth to overstretch and require trimming. And he should not card the cloth along its warp, i.e. vertically, but along its weft, i.e. horizontally. And you may even out the cloth by cutting it along its length, but not along its width. Alright? And if he comes to even out the cloth by removing up to a handbreadth of material, it is permitted for him to do so. I have no clue what I just read. It's so boring. Amar Mar, Shnei Chutin, V'ha'anan Tanan Shalosh. Oh, Lo Kasha, Ha'ba'alime V'bakatine. The Gemara analyzes the Brisa. The Master said in the Brisa that the launderer may take 2 threads. But didn't we learn in the Mishnah that the launderer may take 3 threads? It's a good question. The Gemara answers this is not difficult. Okay. The ruling of this Brisa, which allows only 2 threads, is stated with regard to thick threads. And the ruling of that Mishnah, which allows 3 threads, is stated with regard to thin ones. Very interesting. It was also stated in the Brisa that he should not card the cloth along its warp, but along its weft. The Gemara asks, but isn't it taught in another Brisa that the opposite is the halacha? The Gemara answers, this is not difficult. The ruling of this Brisa, which prohibits carding along the warp, is stated with regard to an ordinary garment, which is designed for durability. And one should therefore avoid wearing out the material by carding along the warp. The ruling of that Brisa, which allows one to card along the warp, is stated with regard to an elegant cape, which is made for aesthetic appearance, and is therefore improved by carding in this manner. Very interesting. V'lo yato bo yoser mishlosha chubin, by Rabbi Yirmiyah amtuye ve'asuye chad, or dilma amtuye ve'asuye trei, teku. The Gemara examines the next clause of the Brisa, and a carder should not place in a cloth more than 3 stitches for each loop. Rabbi Yirmiyah raised a dilemma with regard to the definition of the term stitch in this context. Does drawing the needle in and out constitute 1 stitch? Or perhaps does drawing the needle in and out constitute 2 stitches? The Gemara responds, Ich weiß nicht. Okay? Umachveu le'orko avalo le'rochbo, ve'atanya ipcha, lo kasha beglimo be'emyone. It was further stated in the Brisa, and he may even out the cloth by cutting it along its length, but not along its width. The Gemara asks, but isn't it taught in another Brisa that the opposite is true? The Gemara answers that this is not difficult. The statement of this Brisa, which rules that one should not even out the cloth along its length, is stated with regard to a garment. Chevra, wake up. Don't fall asleep. Where it even, oh my gosh, it would be so interesting if I can see in the statistics, at what point everybody just turned off, just stop listening. If you're driving, maybe if you're driving, turn this off. I don't want to be responsible for you to falling asleep at the wheel. Where an even length would be conspicuous. The statement is so boring. The statement of that Brisa, which rules that one should even it out along its width, is stated with regard to a belt. Okay? As the width of a belt is more noticeable than its length while it's being worn. I guess that's true. Taner Abanan, in Lochem and Asorik Moch. When's this over? Are we almost done? I don't even know, because I'm reading out of the Safari. I just hope it's almost over. Taner Abanan, in Lochem min Asorik Mochin, mipnei she'enu shalov, mokum shenagu lios shalo Lochin, v'chomokum Lochin bein karmole Mochin, v'cheses mele Mochin, my time kanonu b'shinun. The Gemara cites a Brisa that discusses which items may be purchased from a carder. The sages taught in a Brisa, one may not purchase strands of thread from a carder because it is assumed that they are not his, and in a place where the residents were accustomed to allow carders to retain strands, the strands may be presumed to be his, and one may purchase them. And in every place, one may purchase from them a cushion full of stuffing made from strands, or a mattress full of stuffing made from strands. What is the reason that is permitted? The reason is that even if the carter had stolen the strands, once he uses them to make a cushion or mattress, he has acquired them through a change of form. Okay. Migardi lo irin v'lo nirin v'lo punkolin v'lo shire pakiios. Apropos the halachos pertaining to weaving, the Gemara cites a brisa that discusses which items may be purchased from various craftsmen. The sages taught in a brisa, one may purchase from a weaver neither woolen wads, the heck is a wad? I guess it's a wad, which are used to hold the bobbin in place on a shuttle. I don't know. We have any weavers here? Babylon Talmud? Nor heddles, nor threads of the bobbin, nor remnants of coils of thread that were left on the spool, as there is a concern that these items were taken from the customer without his consent. Avalokan men beged menumer erev ushasi tvi v'arig. When we purchase a spotted garment from them, even though the design indicates that it was made from strands of different colors which the weaver may have stolen from other garments that he was weaving. It is also permitted to purchase warp threads and weft threads from them, as well as wool that was spun into thread or woven. All of these items may be purchased from the weaver because they have undergone a physical change and have therefore been acquired by the weaver, even if he did steal them. Right? I mean, even if he stole them, they would at least technically belong to him, and you'd be purchasing it from him. He would still, of course, have to pay it back. Amriyashda tvi shakli arug miboya, my arug tiche. The Gemara asks, say now that the brisa taught that one may purchase spun wool, despite the fact that it has undergone only a minor physical change. Is it necessary to teach that one may purchase woven wool, which has undergone a greater change of form? The Gemara answers, what does the brisa mean when it mentions woven wool? Is it not referring to wool woven into a garment? But to wool that, it is not referring to wool woven into a garment, but to wool that is twisted into chains, which is also a minor physical change. It's already 8:15 in the morning? Have I been doing this for 2 hours? What? I've been recording Babylon Talmud for like 2 hours straight, I think. That might also explain why I'm like, maybe a little bored. Are we almost done? I don't know. The Gemara examines which items may be bought from a dyer. The sages taught in a brisa, when we purchase from a dyer neither pieces of wool used for tests, nor pieces used as a color sample, nor detached pieces of wool, as these might have been stolen. One may purchase from him a colored garment, spun threads, and clothes fashioned from the aforementioned pieces of material. The Gemara asks, now that the brisa taught that one may purchase spun threads from the dyer, is it necessary to teach that one may purchase clothes? It is obvious that one may purchase clothes, as the clothes themselves are made of spun threads. Good point. The Gemara explains, what does the brisa mean when it mentions clothes? It is referring to felt garment, which are not made of spun threads. Good point. The sages taught in a brisa, in the case of one who gives hides to a tanner, the trimmings of hide and the detached hairs belong to the customer, but the substance that comes up while being washed in water belongs to him, the tanner. What do you do with that substance? Wait, Tanur are we almost done? No, not really. Dang it! Okay, where are we? The Mishnah teaches that if the threads were black on a white garment, the launderer may take all of them. Rav Yehuda said a launderer is called a katzra in Aramaic. And he takes the short, threads of wool for himself. That was sweet. Rav Yehuda also said all the threads, even those usually removed from the garment, are counted toward the minimum number of thumb lengths between the hole through which the sky blue wool is inserted for ritual fringes and the edge of the garment. But Yitzchak, my son, is particular about these threads and makes sure that the garment is of the proper measurement, even if the threads were to be removed. Achayit sheshir es achut chule v'chama l'spor amar Rav Asi l'machat chutz l'machat iboilu l'machat v'chutz l'machat kim lo machat olima l'machat v'chutz l'machat mashu. The Mishnah teaches in the case of a tailor who left enough thread attached to the cloth in order to sew with it, this thread belongs to the customer. The Gemara asks how much thread is necessary in order to be able to sew. Good question. Rav Asi said the length of a needle outside the needle. A dilemma was raised before the sages. Did Rav Asi mean that the thread must be the size of the needle and that beyond the needle there must be an additional amount of thread equivalent to the size of the needle? Or perhaps he meant that it must be the size of the needle and that beyond the needle there must be any minimal amount of additional string. In other words, Rav Asi is saying that the thread must be 2 needle lengths or slightly more than 1 needle length. That's a good question. Tashma Tanya Chayit Shishir es achut pachos mikdei lispor bo umatlis shipchus mishalosh al shalosh bizman shebalabais makbid alein harei elu shebalabais ein balabais makbid alein harei elu shelo. The Gemara responds, come in here a resolution as it is taught in a brisa in the case of a tailor who left the thread attached to the cloth, but it was less than the length necessary in order to sew with it, or it was a patch of cloth that is less than 3 finger breadths by 3 finger breadths left from the cloth given to the tailor by the customer. The halacha is dependent upon the customer's inclination. When the customer is particular about such items, these items belong to the customer, but if the customer is not particular about them, these items belong to the tailor. Okay, are we almost done yet? The Gemara analyzes the brisa to deduce the answer. Granted, if you say that Rav Asi meant to say that the thread must be the size of the needle and that beyond the needle there must be an additional amount of thread equivalent to the size of the needle, then the ruling in the brisa that a slightly shorter thread belongs to the customer if he wishes to keep it is reasonable, since a thread which is less than that length is still fit for use as the stitching of a loop. But if you say that Rav Asi meant that the thread must be the size of the needle and that beyond the needle there must be any amount of additional string, then with regard to a thread that is even less than that, for what use is it fit that the customer might wish to keep it? Good question. So rather, learn from the brisa that Rav Asi meant that the thread must be the size of the needle and that beyond the needle there must be an additional amount of thread equivalent to the size of the needle, so that the thread must be a total of 2 needle lengths. The Gemara conclude from the brisa that this is so. Are we almost done? Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, we're like almost done. Okay. Fine. Mashacharish chule v'raminu. Mashacharish motzi b'maitzod v'anifsok b'megera harei elu shal ba'abayis v'ayotzi mitachas makdeach mitachas rahitne v'anigra b'megera harei elu shalo. The Mishnah teaches that which the carpenter removes with an adze, decks and adze, belongs to him, but what he removes with an axe belongs to the customer. The Gemara raises a contradiction to this ruling based upon a brisa. That which the carpenter removes with an adze, and that which is severed with a saw belong to the customer. But with regard to that which comes out from under a drill or under a plane, and that which is scraped by the saw, i.e. sawdust, these belong to the carpenter. Whereas the Mishnah ruled that the carpenter may keep what is removed with an adze, the brisa rules that it belongs to the customer. Amar Rava says, Rav ba'asu de tana didon, ika tarte chatzine, the rabose, korele kashil, zutrosi korele maitzad. Be'asu de tana bara, chad hu de ika v'korele maitzad. When I present an answer, Rava said, in the place of the Tana of our Mishnah, there are 2 kinds of blades used by carpenters. The larger blade is called an axe, and the smaller one is called an adze. By contrast, in the place of the Tana of the Brisa, there's only one carpenter's blade, and they call it an adze. Consequently, the adze referred to in the Brisa is actually an axe, and the rulings are therefore congruent. Okay, now we're mamish at the end. If anybody's still awake, I'm barely awake. V'moya osa eitzel chule taner rabbanan misatze avonim ein boim mishum gazel mfasge ilanos mfasge gefonim minakve hegi minakshe zroim v'odre yirokas bismancha bal abayis makbar aleim yish boim mishum gazel ein bal abayis makbar aleim arei elu shelo. The Mishnah teaches that if he was doing his work in the domain of the customer, then even the sawdust belongs to the customer. The sages taught in the Brisa, stone chiselers are not in violation of a transgression due to the prohibition against robbery if they take the leftover chips of rock. Furthermore, with regard to those who prune trees, those who prune vines, those who trim shrubs, those who weed plants, and those who hoe vegetables, the halacha is dependent upon the owner's inclination. When the owner is particular about the plant trimmings, the workers are in violation of a transgression due to the prohibition against robbery if they take the trimmings. But if the owner is not particular about them, then these items belong to the workers. Revuda says, daughter and green grain are not subject to the prohibition against robbery, as they grow on their own and no one tends to them. But in a place where people are particular about the ownership of daughter and green grain, they are subject to the prohibition against robbery. Ravina said, and in the place of Mata Mechasya. Oh, what? What? Dude. Wow. Chever, it was all worth it for this. I wouldn't have gotten this if I wasn't just reading it like a loser out of the Sefaria. I always thought that the place was called Mata Mechasya. But no, Mata Mechasya is the city of Mechasya. Interesting. That's where Rav Ashi was from. Rav Ashi was from Mata Mechasya. So wait, so really it's called Mechasya? But was it always called though Mata Mechasya? Wow. And the city of Mechasya is a city where residents are particular about daughter and green wheat. Wow. Whoa. Alright, wow. Okay. Sorry that the last 20 minutes was like so boring. But the good news, let me stretch. Oh, I'm so tired. That was like so boring. But the good news is that we just finished BavaKama. That's the big leagues. Seriously, give yourself a pat on the back. That was not easy at all. That was 4 intense months. It's a big deal, friends. Big deal. You got BavaKama under your belts. Nobody can take that away from you. Check that off your bucket list. In my view, that should be on your bucket list. Learn BavaKama at least once. Check that off. Good job, everyone. Give yourself a pat on the back. Peace out.